XLM is often compared to XRP, and chances are if you've heard of XRP, you know about XLM. But why are the two often associated? What problem does XLM aim to solve, and does it really have a future in crypto? I don't know, but I wanted to find out. So in this video, I'm breaking down all the hard facts about XLM and how it works so you can make your own decision. And let me be clear, I'm not pro XLM, I'm not against XLM. I just wanted to learn more about what it actually is, what it does, and whether it makes sense. This video is the result of all my findings. Okay, before we really get into what XLM is and the problem it aims to solve, I want to clear up three terms that often get mixed up: Stellar, Lumens, and XLM. Stellar is a digital payment network designed to move money. Lumens is a native cryptocurrency of that network, and XLM is simply the ticker symbol that represents lumens. In other words, Lumens and XLM are the exact same thing. But there's also one lesser known term associated with XLM, the Stellar Development Foundation, or SDF. This is the organization that helps support and develop the Stellar network. And one of the people who created SDF is the main reason XLM is so often compared to XRP. So get this, XLM was created in 2014 by one of XRP's co-founder, Jed McCaleb, alongside attorney Joyce Kim. Jed McCaleb left XRP's core team at Ripple in 2013 because he didn't agree with the team's strategic decision to focus on large institutions like banks and other financial companies. He wanted to focus more on financial inclusion and everyday people. So he split off and created the Stellar network and XLM. Now, here's the most interesting part. When XLM first launched in 2014, its code essentially was a copy of XRP's code. This is called a fork. But soon after launch in December 2014, the Stellar network experienced a systemic failure. Even though Stellar's code was based on XRP's, some small changes had been made to how it worked, and those changes caused the entire network to stop running. This failure forced Jed McCaleb to recreate Stellar and XLM from scratch. So in 2015, he brought in a legendary Stanford computer scientist by the name of David Maziere to create the Stellar Consensus Protocol, which basically just defines how XLM works today. This completely severed any technical ties to XRP forever. So what is XLM and what problem does it aim to solve today? Well, XLM is a digital currency and the native currency of the Stellar network, and it really has three main functions. One, it acts as a spam barrier by requiring a small base fee of 0.0001 XLM, which helps prevent bad actors from overwhelming the network with spam. Two, it helps keep the network storage space efficient by requiring people to hold a minimum reserve balance of 0.5 XLM in their wallet. And three, it can act as a bridge asset for cross-border payments when two currencies can't be traded directly. But that's a whole lot of technical jargon that doesn't mean much to some people. So in simple terms, XLM's main job is to act as a digital bridge for money because it's trying to solve one core problem that all humans share: sending and receiving money quickly and cheaply. Right now, the world's money systems don't talk to each other easily. For example, if you want to send US dollars to someone in Mexico, your bank can't just send it directly to their bank in Mexico. Your money has to jump through chains of 3 or 4 middlemen banks first. Not only is this extremely slow, but it's expensive because each bank takes a cut of your money that you send. So what Stellar aims to solve is this disconnect between the world's different financial systems like banks and money apps, so we can send and receive money instantly, any day of the week, for almost no cost. But how does XLM solve this problem, and do we specifically need XLM for this? Since the Stellar network is decentralized, meaning it's not controlled by one company or person, but rather maintained by a network of trusted computers, if you will, it operates freely everywhere in the world, all times of the day. So now imagine you want to send US dollars to someone in Mexico, but instead of your money bouncing through multiple banks, Stellar takes your dollars and turns them into digital dollars on its network, sends it across the world in seconds, and then converts it into pesos on the other end. This entire process happens almost instantly and for fractions of a penny. That's Stellar and XLM in a nutshell. But here's the massive catch that most people miss. When a company like MoneyGram moves money using Stellar, they're not necessarily moving XLM. In many cases, they're using stablecoins instead because XLM's price is just way too volatile. XLM is basically invisible though, and it works entirely behind the scenes as hidden plumbing used automatically by the app to pay the small network fee. Why does this matter though? Because big corporations and banks don't want to touch volatile cryptocurrencies. If they had to buy millions of dollars worth of XLM just to move funds around, they wouldn't bite. By keeping XLM hidden in the plumbing though, institutions get the insane speed of the blockchain and the ability to move assets like US dollars without ever having to worry about the volatile price of cryptocurrencies. But this brings up a massive question. Why do we need XLM and Stellar to do this? Is it because XLM is the fastest, safest, and most affordable cryptocurrency? Probably not. Because if we purely look at speed and transaction costs, Solana and several other crypto networks are just as fast and cheap as Stellar. If the only goal were moving value cheaply from point A to point B, XLM wouldn't have a distinct advantage. The real reason XLM and the Stellar network are used by global financial institutions is not for its raw performance. It's because a network was deliberately created from day one to be a compliant institutional banking layer, whereas networks like Solana were built for fast, decentralized finance, gaming, and other recreational activities, we'll call them. So it's not that XLM is faster, cheaper, or better technology than its competitors. Rather, the team behind XLM has made it their mission to plug the Stellar network into all the regulated businesses that people use to send money today. XLM is also regulated and classified as a digital commodity in the United States, which means the federal government treats it like gold or oil rather than a corporate stock. And this allows it to be traded publicly on markets without the strict registration requirements imposed on securities. And the Stellar network itself is designed to meet institutional compliance and anti-money laundering standards, so it can be used by the banks and financial apps. So it's more about the underlying legal, corporate, and regulatory groundwork the team has done that makes XLM unique, not its technology. But do we need XLM specifically to achieve all this? Yes and no. Because if they're the ones putting in the work to provide this specific service and build these physical cash-out partnerships, and no other crypto network is trying to solve this exact same problem, then it makes sense that XLM has the highest likelihood of being the solution. But no, because again, XLM isn't exactly unique in what it can offer purely from a technical standpoint. Now, aside from all the groundwork that's been done, there are some red flags I constantly see investors bring up. As always, this is just data. You do what you want with this data. It's completely up to you. The first red flag is the foundation's massive supply of XLM. SDF currently holds about 18 billion XLM, which represents about 32% of the total fixed supply. This creates structural selling pressure as they sell tokens to fund different operations. Second, many people argue XLM is too controlled or too centralized. In 2019, the foundation removed 55 billion XLM, which was over half the supply at the time, because 100 billion XLM was too much. While it did reduce the total supply, it demonstrated that a centralized council has a lot of control over the asset's economic model. Third, there's really no incentive to run a Stellar node to help keep the network secure and stable. Unlike Bitcoin miners who earn fees or Ethereum validators who earn staking rewards, the only real incentive someone has to operate a Stellar node is because they rely on Stellar for business. But if they lose interest in Stellar, the number of people running nodes could shrink, making Stellar more centralized. And then of course, there's the argument that XRP is already taking over many of the partnerships XLM would go after. And I'm sure there are more red flags, but those are the main ones that I found. But arguably, the only question anyone cares to know is, will the price of XLM go up? As always, I don't do price predictions on my channel. I think it's silly and irresponsible. However, I was able to find two main perspectives that represent people who are both confident and uncertain about XLM's future. Let's start with the skeptic's point of view. Most XLM skeptics believe that if banks only use XLM for fractions of a second to pay for cheap swap fees on the Stellar network, they never need to buy or hold massive amounts of XLM. But in retail crypto, the price usually goes up when people buy and hold coins for a long time. But on Stellar, the goal is high efficiency and low costs. So critics critique that utility does not equal value, and the very design that makes Stellar attractive to banks prevents XLM from ever having a high value. Now let's look at the more optimistic side. The argument here is that if Stellar ends up being used by a large number of banks, payment apps, and companies, demand for XLM could grow with it. That's because using the Stellar network still requires small amounts of XLM. Wallets need to hold some, transactions use it, and businesses building on Stellar may need more. So the basic idea is this: the more people and companies that use Stellar, the more XLM could be needed. And if more XLM is being held and used across the network, that could reduce the amount available to buy and potentially help push the price higher. But whether XLM is adopted and the price goes up all depends on whether the Stellar Development Foundation can convince the rest of the world's financial institutions to abandon their old systems and plug into the Stellar blockchain. That said, I'm not here to tell you whether XLM is a good buy or not. That's a decision only you can make after doing your own research. But I will say this. Many crypto investments, including XLM, are usually long-term plays. And the real difference between people who eventually see their investment appreciate and those who don't usually isn't the price chart. It's whether they still own the crypto years later. Because the sad truth is that crypto comes with new risks, and a lot of people lose their assets to hacks and scams before they ever get the chance to see their investments pay off. So before you decide whether XLM or any crypto is worth buying, learn how to keep it safe. I break down exactly how I've protected my crypto for the past 6 years in my Beginner's Guide to Crypto Security. Watch that next. I'll meet you over there. God bless. Peace out.